Hey y'all, welcome back. Uzzer here. I have an awesome tutorial for you. This one's on SubD and how to do those custom creases. So for example, here you see I have this kind of dumbbell design over here and I have a crease here, right? It's a sharp crease, but you can see it smoothly flows into no crease at all. How do you do that? What's the proper way to do it? First thing I'll do is just delete this and show you how I actually build the SubD. If you want to just jump to the crease, you can probably follow one of the timestamps or something below. But I really want to show you guys this step first because I see a lot of people struggling with SubD and how to build a SubD object. So I just want to start by saying use what you're comfortable with. I love using NURBS and building everything using native Rhino NURBS stuff. Like for example, if I wanted to do those dumbbells, I would start with a NURBS sphere, NURBS cylinder. Okay, and this is how I would convert this to a SubD. The way I do this is, well, first let's just get the SubD tools out here so we can all see what some of the tools are. But this is what I would do. I'd grab them. First, I'd boolean them together, right? Boolean union. It's one object now. And the command I love to use is QuadRemesh. I'm sure it's here somewhere as well. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's that one right there, but I'm just going to type it out. QuadRemesh. So make sure that's pre-selected. And what you want to do is come down here and say convert to SubD. All right, and just because you clicked it doesn't mean it's done anything. You want to actually preview that. Make sure you see the SubD object. You can see it's showing something, but it's kind of hard to see because it's overlaid with the original geometry. So I'm going to hide the original geometry by clicking hide input. And since I don't need that original geometry anymore, I'm also going to delete it. Okay. You see it's really dark on the screen, so I'm going to go to my rendered view. That'll make it seem a little bit better. Here is the second rule that you should follow if you're making SubD objects, especially using QuadRemesh, is model stuff around the origin, especially if it's symmetric. For example, this dumbbell is symmetric. It's symmetric about the y-axis, okay? Because notice what happens if I don't make it symmetric, right? Look at this end. It looks okay. Actually, this is a bad example. Actually, it looks pretty decent, right? I'm going to change this number to kind of mess it up a little bit just to show you what's going on over here. All right, so I'm going to change this to, let's say, 150. Okay, that's just a number that I picked. That just chooses how many faces you're going to have. And honestly, it's looking okay. The last time I did this, it really messed up completely. But hey, it's looking good. Either way, I'm just going to go ahead and make sure it's symmetric in the X, Y, and Z. In this case, it's symmetric in all the axes. And here, actually, this might be just a little too few surfaces. So I might bump this up to 200 and see what that starts to look like. 250. This is the time to play around with this because once you do this step, if you want to try and do this step again, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. That seems to be okay for me. 250 seems like a nice sweet spot. So I'll go ahead, click OK. Here's my SubD. Nothing is creased, right? And if you don't know what a crease is, let's just go ahead and crease some of these curves. Now, one way I can do that is just when you know how you control shift and you can select like an edge, for example. If I double click this edge, it'll actually select what it thinks would be the entire loop. In this case, it's going from here all the way to here. And let's go ahead and crease that by using one of these commands. Is this one right here. Okay, and you notice that if I right click, not left click, sorry, I was about to say left click. If you right click, it says add hard crease to the SubD. So if I right click, it adds that crease, and you can kind of see that, right? And maybe that's not what you want. You want it on this edge perhaps, but maybe not up here. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is just work with the model a little bit to get to a design that I kind of want. So for example, I'm going to select all of these faces. Actually, I'm going to go from here to here. Yeah, select all of that and just shrink that up a little bit. Okay, so not that extreme, just like about that much, right? And then what I'm going to do is start combining some of these faces. So like this face and this face, for example, you want to merge them or collapse them together. There is a command on here to do that, which is MergeFaces. And you can see that it combined those two. So I'm just going to speed this up a little bit while I do the rest. And there we go. So now I've done this. I don't want to repeat this on the other side, right? Like that's just going to take more time. So what I'll do instead is use the reflect command. So if I go into, say, my front view over here and I use reflect, which is right here, select the SubD object and select the axis. In this case, it's the X axis over here. So select the x-axis. It's always good to do it also in a view where you can really see it. Don't do it in the perspective view. Pick a nice view and do it in there. And you can see my model was already centered about the origin, so that makes it a little bit easier. But the arrow is pointing down, and the arrow is pointing towards the side that you want to keep and reflect. Now, I don't want the bottom because I'd made the modification on the top, so I do want to flip that, make sure the arrow is pointing up, and then hit enter, and let's see if it actually did that. So on the top, yeah, those are merged, and now on the bottom it's merged too. And just to make sure the reflect is working properly, you can select something, right? And if I select the gumball and I pull that up, look and see that it does reflect that change on the other side. Okay, now let's go ahead and do that crease again. So I'm going to double click this, go ahead and right click to hard crease, and do the same on the other side and right click to hard crease. And you can see it looks pretty decent, right? Except of these hard edges here. And sometimes it's subtle enough where you don't notice it. In that case, you can use something like an EMap. What an EMap does is you can choose, say, like a different environment, and it shows you that object reflecting that environment. And that really allows you to find these minute surface imperfections that you may not just with the visual eye looking at a 2D screen at a model, right? So doing it this way allows you to see exactly what's happening. You can see that hard crease is going all the way out here, and that's really not what we want to see. Now you may say, well, why are you selecting all of those to do the hard crease? You don't have to. You can just select a few of them. So let's do that, right? Like let's do this selection, and I'll unselect this and unselect this, and now I'll do a hard crease. Right? And visually it looks okay, but again, if I go back to the EMap, you'll see that that transition is really, really awkward. It almost looks like a little pinch point over here. So that's not ideal. What you really want to do is have a really hard crease where you want it, and that smoothens out to a very, very loose crease near the end to almost where there's no crease, right? That would be ideal. So how do we do that? Well, first thing you want to do, I'll undo that last command. I'm going to select this whole portion here and this whole portion here. Uh-oh. Did it select? What's going on here? Hold on one second. There we go. Oh, okay. I got all that. But here's the thing. I want to unselect something that I definitely don't need, right? Like I'm going to deselect this, and I'm going to deselect that, right? While you're here, a very important thing you can do is actually go and, oh, here it is, selection filters, right? I can add one, and I can call this top SubD edges or something like that. Why is that important? Because later, say you want to make a change and you've accidentally deselected those, you can always come back to top SubD edges and it'll reselect those edges again, which is great. Okay, now all the setup is done. Let's go ahead and actually run that command. So come up here and do a left click for this soft crease, right? It says select highlighted vertex, and you're like, okay, what does that mean? What am I supposed to do here? So for example, if I click over here, it just says the letter P, and now I'm not really sure what to do, right? What you're trying to do is tell it like, hey, at this vertex, what is the actual weight of that crease? Okay, if you put 100, it's going to be super sharp, and if you put 0, it's going to be nothing. So I'm going to type 0, enter, right? But you can't see anything. I have a white background in this case, so I need to switch to something like this. Like I have a blue background one, and that makes it a lot easier to see what's going on. So you see it's 0 throughout, which means there's no crease. So I'm going to go somewhere in the middle here and type in 100. Okay, that makes this one 100, maybe this one 100, and now you see it'll go from 100 to 0. But what about the rest? Now, if I click another one, you'll see that it actually interpolates between the 100 and the 0 and applies a specific value to that one. This is also a good point, good time to point out that you don't want a super constrained SubD surface model that has like, thousands of faces, right? Because you'll be doing point by point. It'll take forever. It's way easier to stick with a fewer number of faces and do it right. In this case, I'm kind of happy with it. 40, go down to about 30, about 15, and then 0. Maybe that's really smooth. But the problem is that 100 just sticks around here. So I do want to expand that 100 a little bit. So I'm going to go 100 here, 100 here, 100 here, 100 here, and just the same all throughout here. Oh, not that one. Not that one. Come on. This curve, please. Oh, what's going on? There we go. 100, right? I think it's done okay. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to say that's good. Hit enter. All right, and should have done that crease. Let's go back to my rendered view here. And now let's look at it. Yep, I got that nice hard crease here on top. It's reflected here, right? And as I go towards the edge of the dumbbell here, now you start to see it smoothing out. And now let's look at the difference in the EMap, because that's really where we'll be able to see what that transition looks like. And now you see it's no longer that hard pinch point that we had last time, right? You actually have a much smoother transition between that sharp edge going to this nice smooth edge over here. So that's exactly a situation where you do want to use the variable creasing in SubD. I hope that helps. Okay, if you like this video, it provided any value to you at all, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you want to go further, I have a free training called 20 Tips to Model Twice as Fast in Rhino and Grasshopper. That's linked below. And if you're serious about getting better at Rhino and Grasshopper, I run a small live coaching cohort where you bring your real projects, we look at your workflow, we fix what's slowing you down in real time in a small group. It's super fun. If it sounds like what you need, there's a short application in the description below. It just takes 2 minutes to fill out and send it my way. It's not for everyone, but if you're serious about improving, it might be for you. That's it from me. If you have any suggestions, put them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.